It didn't go over. Hey guys!
I sure was trying to figure out, like, wait, where we at? I don't see her. What's going on?
I was looking like I was doing something else and actually looked up like, oh, we're still going.
We're still going, right?
All right.
Still
But when
going.
you have a great theme music, then what else do you do? Just keep playing it.
That's right. It is some really good theme music. It really is.
All right.
So, and
All
actually,
right.
our guests seem to like it too. When we have people come on, they seem to
Yes.
like our theme music also.
Yes. So we hope you guys like our theme music as well, since we're always out here. Lisa's jamming.
Every week, you would think I would get tired of it, but nope.
Woo.
Every week.
Right. Right. So
So
hey,
you know what today is.
right. So today is Wednesday. It's our water cooler Wednesday.
Water cooler Wednesday.
Right.
Whoop,
Yes.
whoop.
And my name, I'm Dion Branch with the Lord Dream Homes, brokered by EXP. And I have with me my co-host, Lisa White.
Lisa, hey, hi
Yeah,
everybody. Lisa from Nexa Mortgage, where brokers are better here to help with your financing needs, residential, commercial, whatever you're looking for, we got it.
we got it for you. And we come here every week so we can give you a breakdown on some of the real estate topics that are taking place, hot topics. And so
Yeah,
this week, of course, we have another good doozy for you.
this is sizzling hot.
Yes.
So because this is one of those things where it's not really what's the word for what like how you use terms in jargon. It's
Mhm.
not jargon, but they are terms that mean something kind of specific to our industry. So appraisal or appraiser, and then a home inspector or home inspections. We're going to talk about all of that stuff and how it all works together because tonight's episode is appraisers and inspectors, the dream team or double trouble.
Right, right. They could be. And it doesn't matter whether you're a seller or a buyer. These the appraisal and the home inspection are important things that you need to know, right? So no matter if you're the buyer or the seller, you want to understand what each of these are and how it affects you.
Right. So I think one thing that's going to be really important to talk about right now, let's just kind of clear up something. An appraiser has a very specific job. The appraiser is the person that I'm responsible for getting out there to your home. So the appraiser determines the value of the house. They determine the
Mhm.
value of the house. So a lender, I tell customers this all the time, that a lender is not going to put a lien on the house that's not worth it.
Yeah.
So the value of the house has to be there that you're offering to buy the home for, because otherwise, no investors, that's not going to be a good investment. The investor is not going to want to put a lien on the house if it's not really worth what you're actually paying for it. So
Yeah.
the appraiser is there to determine the market value of the home.
Yeah, yeah. And I always say like the appraiser is there for the bank, and then we have the home inspection and the home inspection is there for you, right? So they're
Yes.
there to check the condition of the property. They're there to make sure that there's no safety hazards, no hidden problems with the home, if there's
Yep.
anything that needs repair. So we're not looking at the home inspector is not looking for cosmetic, concerns. They're looking for things like your electrical, your plumbing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But they look at everything though. I
Yeah,
mean, they will even tell you about cosmetic stuff too. But you're right, they're not really looking to uncover that. That's just part of the inspection.
those are right. Those are just things that are important that you can relay back to the seller to let them know that you have a concern. Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about it, that's kind of some built-in protection for you, really, because if the inspector can protect you from potentially buying a money pit, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, if you have a bunch of stuff that's wrong, because one of the things I remember about when I bought my house just a few years ago was that, excuse me, I was really impressed by because normally as the lender, I don't really see the home inspection. I'll see appraisals because I have to look at those on behalf of my customer base. But as far as seeing home inspections, I don't really have to see those. So when I got my home inspection, I saw this. I think it was like maybe 20 pages long, and it had like a red, yellow, green type of a
hmm
key. You know, so you
right,
could look and say, okay, obviously, you know where we going with this.
right,
If it's red, that means you better fix this because it's falling apart. You need to take care of it right away. You know,
hmm
if it's yellow, it's has some wear and tear. Something you want to consider. Maybe you need to replace it within X amount of years. They give you an idea. If it's green, you're good to go. You don't really have any problems with it. Maybe it's new or hasn't been in use that long. Whatever. But they gave a very clear indicator that my inspector told me you need to change the batteries in the smoke alarms. you
yeah.
know?
And that's the thing. A lot of times, as a buyer, you don't have to, after the home inspection takes place, you as a buyer is going to report back and say, these are the items that I would like for you as the seller to repair or to give me credit in lieu of doing the repairs, right?
Yes.
And
Hmm.
so sometimes you could there's the inspector can give you a list of 20, 30 things, because that's what you want, is someone that's really detailed, looking into everything in the house and sharing that information with you. And like Lisa said, you can have things that are yellow, which is like, oh, caution, the furnace is a
Yeah.
little older. Or you can have things that are red that says the furnace ain't gonna make it until next week, right? Right.
Right.
And so,
exactly.
right. So there's, so within those things, you can then determine how you approach your seller, as far as, do I want the seller to actually give me some money in lieu of them actually doing repairs, or
Hmm.
do I want them actually to provide me a new furnace?
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So both of those people are what we call third party vendors. They're, you know, they are part of the transaction, but not really necessarily part of the team per se. Um they serve different roles, but they're both unbiased third party individuals or
Yeah.
contractors, if you
Yeah.
want to say it
Right.
that way. Yeah.
Right. And so
So,
what happens is and the reason why she's bringing this up is because a lot of times when I talk to you and I buy your consultation, I let you know that there's three things that are required at the beginning of the transaction, right? So we've
hmm,
talked about this. You need the earnest money, which could be about $1,000, and then you have to pay for your appraisal, which
yeah,
Lisa could say that may be between,
six could be 650 somewhere around there. Yeah,
right
between
there.
550 and 650, I would say right now.
Okay. And then you can do, then the home inspection could be around 350 to like 450. That's for a single family home. But if you're
Hmm.
looking at a multi-unit, it could be more. It could double because that there's more things that they have to inspect.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, right? So we bring that up because those are things that you have to pay in the beginning of the transaction. Those That's
Right.
cash that needs to come out of your pocket, right at the
Right.
beginning,
Absolutely.
right? And so we typically ask you need to have at least $2,000 at the beginning of a transaction once you're under contract and your contract has been executed. Right.
Yep. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, Dion, would you agree that both of the roles are critical?
They definitely are. Yes, they are. So, because the appraiser is going to make sure the appraiser is looking out for the bank, like we said, that's making sure that the value that you decided that you're going to spend for the home, that they're actually paying for something that's worthy.
Yeah.
And then the home inspector is looking out for your best interests, right? Where they're trying to make
Mhm.
sure that you don't buy this money pit, or something that you're going to deeply regret as soon as you
Right.
move into the property.
Right, absolutely. So as a lender, I do see appraisals that affect financing all the time. So one of the things that you have to keep in mind is that appraised values have a lot to do with whether or not we can continue in a transaction, or if things may need to change. Like, for example, if the value comes in lower than the sales price that you agreed to, then you basically got three choices.
Yeah.
So you can either go back and you can renegotiate, with the seller. Maybe you'll come up with an amicable agreement between the two of you, and you say, well, I don't agree with the appraiser. I do think that the house is worth more than, what he's saying it's worth, but I don't think it's worth as much as the seller is telling me that it's worth. So maybe you meet somewhere in the middle. That could be,
Hmm.
an option that you
Right.
guys renegotiate, and then you change the contract based upon those new terms. The
Right.
other
One
thing could
thing though
be,
I do want to bring up
mhm,
is that as a realtor, if we can go back and actually submit comps that shows that the value is there. So then that way we can see if the appraiser would go ahead and change based off of the comps that we provide.
mhm,
Most of the time they don't, but it is something that we can do, and people have been successful in
yeah.
actually getting the comps, showing good comps and having them change. So,
Yeah. Yep,
mm,
absolutely. That's a very good point. So I'm going to go back to the three that I was bringing up as far as options for what a buyer can do if you do have a low appraisal. So the aside from being able to renegotiate with the seller, another thing that you can do is you can come up with the difference. Like, if you just agree that it's worth what they say that it's worth, and you want to pay them. We had that happen a lot during the pandemic. That was one of the things that was a huge negotiating tool in a lot of different markets, is that
yeah,
people would say, okay, I'm going to waive what would you call it? The appraisal inspection, or waive the appraisal
yeah,
the appraised
value.
value. Okay. So people would say, okay, I really want to buy this house, so I'm going to waive, any restrictions with the appraised value. And I'm already agreeing to pay, I don't know, maybe $10,000 or
Hmm.
$20,000 more than whatever the appraised value is, if it's less than the
Right,
sales price that we've already agreed upon. So that's one thing you could do also. You can come up with additional cash and then pay the difference. So that
yeah,
way the lender is still only putting a lien on the house for the amount that is directly related to the value, because the lender is
hmm,
only going to go by the value of the house. They're not
right.
going to go by the sales price if the sales price is more than what the value is. And
And
then the other thing.
most of the
Mhm.
time when that happens, you really have negotiated that at the at the beginning of the transaction. So you've submitted your offer, and so
Yeah.
then this happens a lot of times. You might negotiate this because there's multiple offers. They're called for what's called a highest and best offer, and so
Yeah.
this is one of your tools in order to say, hey, I'm going to submit above price at offer, and with that above price offer, I'm going to go ahead and honor my that price.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Yep, that's good. And then, of course, nothing is written in stone. You haven't signed any papers to, officially get the keys. So you do still have the ability to walk away as
Yeah,
well. You're not under obligation to continue with with the transaction. So this is also a point where you can walk away if you decided to do so. So those are some options if you do have a house that comes in low. Now, since we're kind of talking about value anyway, I have seen where the purchase price um is changed because the value came in higher. So like say for example, if you agreed to buy a house for $250,000 and then maybe the appraisal came in for 255,000, let's just say. And now you find yourself as the buyer, maybe something transpired, and because of whatever this was that transpired, now you're a little low on the funds that you might need for closing. Sometimes, that can happen. So if that were to happen, I have seen it where we raise the sales price. Like since it came in at 255, now instead of the sales price being 250, the sales price becomes 255, and we ask the seller to credit $5,000. So, because to them, their bottom line is still exactly the same. It doesn't change their bottom line. But for you, it gives you maybe a couple of dollars more on the monthly payment over 30 years. And it also gives you, though, $5,000 worth of credit at closing, which is a dollar for dollar credit. So now that means, like, for example, if you were supposed to come to closing with 15,000, now that $5,000 credit would mean you're only coming to closing with 10,000.
yeah, yeah. So, and that does definitely help out the buyer when they find that they don't have enough money for the closing, and we do
Yeah.
negotiate that a lot for our buyers to make sure that they can close and not have to bring so much to the closing table. So,
Yes. People
right.
always like it when you can bring a little bit less money to closing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So.
Yep, absolutely. What about for home inspections, Dion?
As far as what?
Just,
You're like, what
just,
about?
yeah, as far as why that matters, on the home inspection side.
As far as the value of the property? I'm sorry,
No,
I
just,
didn't understand your question. You
oh,
threw
that's
me
okay.
off a
No,
little bit.
I'm following along with our with our
I don't know
outline.
where you're at. That's why I was like,
Segment 2, why they matter.
oh, okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry, guys. I don't know where she was at. I'm like, I don't know. Why does it matter, Lisa? I don't know. Right.
I'm
Right. So,
throwing it out there. I need you to take the bait. Okay, let's reel that back in.
right. So, why does it matter? Why does the home inspection matter? Because the home inspection, there's a lot of different things that can come up in the report that may actually cause you to cancel a transaction as well. So
Oh yeah.
there could be something like that there's a foundation issue and
Mhm.
things that that was kind of well covered that we may not have discovered while we were doing a walkthrough, but
Yeah.
find out that that the wall might be leaning, structural issues, that there may be need of a new roof, and sometimes people don't want to take on the whole price of a new roof because the seller doesn't
Right.
want to buy a new roof for 20,000, and the buyer doesn't
Mhm.
want to take a house knowing that the roof
It's gonna
needs
need the work.
needs
Yep.
to work and stuff. So a lot of times it does, the home inspection does reveal some important information that allows you to make a decision at that time. And so during this time, like Lisa said, there's, you have three options even with the home inspection, right? One is,
Mhm.
the first one is that, you don't like what's going on and you walk away from the deal completely.
Yeah.
The second option you have is that you, ask the seller to repair the items. A lot of times, a home inspection,
Yep.
I already said, they might put like 30 items on the list, but it's not for you to ask for 30 items, it's for you for information. It's for information.
Right.
So a lot of times I come across this where a buyer will be like, well, and add that to the list and add that to the list. I'm like, this is getting too
Yeah.
long and we're gonna scare the seller away, right?
Yeah.
And then the third thing is, which we kind of talked about a little bit too, even on the appraiser side, like, repairs and, cash credit in lieu of doing the repairs. And so that's a good way of, maybe you don't have all the money that you need for the closing, and so we can
Mhm.
ask for a credit, and so you're not worried about all the repairs. I'll just rather take a 6,000 credit in lieu of you doing the repairs, so that's
Yeah.
$6,000 less that you have to bring to the closing table.
Right. Yep. Very good. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. And that's what it's there for. Is you to give it gives you that leverage, and realistically, when you're buying a house, you want to know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody want to, like, you move in and then water start coming from the ceiling, like, surprise.
And
Nobody wants that.
nobody wants that. And it's hard to go back to the seller. You can go back to the seller and ask your attorney after closing to, hey, there's some issues. A lot of times, when there's like a rehab or something like that, the sellers are they're more easy to come in and repair an item because
Yeah,
they feel like they've put the
they
house
did
in
the
order.
work.
They did the work
Hmm.
right. But if it's someone that's selling their home and they've lived in it for years, it might be a little bit more difficult for them to come back and fix something, that has been discovered. Basically they could feel as though it didn't happen, while it was in their home at that time. It's just now happening. And there's unfortunately no way to prove that. So,
Right.
um,
That's
but
true.
there are options, but just so you know, that's why some key tips is, it's always important to do a home inspection, no
Yep.
matter what. No matter what, even if it's a new construction, you should always do a home inspection, because there might be little things that, even with new construction, they're trying to build those houses and put them up quickly and get
Yep.
people in there, that they might miss some things. And again, they're probably easy to come and repair those things, but it's good to know that you've had somebody come and walk through and look at your property,
Yeah. A
doing it.
good friend of mine a couple of years ago, he had literally just bought his house, and that very first winter, the furnace went out.
Yeah,
Very first winter. He hadn't even been in there for 6 months yet.
yeah. I
Yeah.
we'll talk about this another time, but this is one reason why I always suggest my buyers to get a home warranty
Yeah.
all the time. I always want all my buyers to get a home warranty, because when that happens, at least you have the home warranty. You've been in the house for more than 30
Mhm.
days. They
Yeah.
will come in and fix your furnace. It'll be at a discounted rate,
Mhm.
but yeah, they will come and repair some of those items that you didn't know was going to happen. So it's a way of
Right.
preparing yourself, especially for the first year in the house, because you're just
Right.
trying to
Yeah.
figure it out yourself. Like, what is this house all about? And
Yep.
so you don't want any
Absolutely.
unexpected issues to come up. So,
So I know our time is going by pretty fast, but I really would like us to hit on some of the common myths and
okay.
mistakes, that is surrounding appraisers and inspectors. So
All
I
right. So,
got one.
Go for it.
Okay, the appraiser and the inspector do the same thing.
Not true.
Not
Not true.
true.
Right.
Not true. Yeah, they do two very different things as we just talked about. The
Yeah.
focuses are different. You know, the home inspector, I like the way that the I think it was that a appraiser or home inspector we came on that said that who told us that the home inspection is like a report card for your house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, I've
Mm.
used that since that. What's your myth?
My myth are sellers can fail in inspection. There's there's no pass or fail, right? It's just
Mm-hmm.
information.
Yep,
So, mhm.
absolutely. Okay. So how about this? Appraisals always come in at contract price. Eh.
Mm, no,
That's another one because we just talked about how appraisals can come in lower or sometimes appraisals can come in higher. So they don't always come in at contract price.
yeah, yeah. So. And my last one is, and it's the biggest mistake that I see, right? Is that buyers waiving inspections so that they can win their offer on a contract. So they can
Mm,
win, right?
mm-hmm.
That could cost you thousands of dollars later
Yeah.
on.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And
Because
let's
you don't have any idea what you're getting into. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I always there's right now there's multiple options for inspections. They've actually in um added additional options in the 8.0
Oh.
contract. And so
Okay.
with yes, within the 8.0 contract, you can waive an inspection totally. You can do an inspection and not ask for any repairs, or you can do an inspection and ask for repairs. So when you're writing your contract, you can choose that option. So if you know in this case, say for instance, you do say, okay, I don't want to ask for any repairs, you can say, I want to do the inspection, but I don't plan on asking for any repairs. Right.
Okay.
And then when we
So
find
you can
something,
decide that up front, huh?
yeah, you can do that. That will be in your offer. That's an option for your offer. But
Okay.
then once we do the inspection and we do see some items that need addressing, then
Mm-hmm.
you come back and you can just ask for
A
credit
credit.
in lieu of repairs.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. I learned something new today because I didn't know that.
Yes. Yes. That's why we're here to educate.
Right. And I'm getting educated.
I get educated every week too. So, right.
Well, I know we talked a little bit about how they can be either a dream team or double trouble. And so just wanted to hit on what I think we kind of what we did today was we wanted to just allow you to see how the appraisers and the home inspectors how they work, what their functions and responsibilities are, because sometimes buyers it feels like double trouble because sometimes buyers confuse the roles. You know, they think that, well, if I get an appraisal, then I don't need a home inspection, or if I get a home
Right.
inspection, then I don't need an appraisal. That's not true. You really actually should get both.
You
One is
got it.
required. You know, as a lender, I do require an appraisal, but I would strongly advise that you get a home inspection because that's really for you. The appraisal is for me as a lender, but the
Yeah.
home inspection, that's for you.
Yeah.
Another reason it can feel like double trouble is because a low appraisal can make you have to have a hard decision as
hmm
far as, finance, because like I said earlier, the lender is not going to put a lien on the house that's not worth it. The value needs to be there. So that can make a difference as well.
Right. One thing is a tough inspection report can scare the buyers or create conflict for the seller. So
Hmm.
sometimes, you will see this where a person may go in, an older home is going to have a lot more, may have a lot more items because it's an older home and they
Yeah.
haven't done as much maintenance on the house. But where the list may be longer. And so that's where I said people were saying, hey, we need to ask for all these 30 things, but you have to
Mm-hmm.
really focus on what you really want to ask for. And then the
Right.
seller, right, instead of scaring the seller with this list of 30, 40 items that's, way over. And then the last thing is timing and costs add up. So
Yeah.
the inspections are normally paid out of your pocket and
Yeah.
before closing, right? So we talked on that. Those are the first. There are two of the three things at the beginning of the transaction that you need to pay out of your pocket. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, so it can't. That's why we always say make sure you have at least $2,000 at the beginning of the
Right.
transaction, and
Right.
then that way you can cover those items.
Yep, absolutely. And keep in mind that because, we mentioned earlier how they're third party vendors, third party contractors, that they get paid and that's not something that's refundable to you. So once they do their job, they get paid for their job and then that's it. So like
Right.
your earnest money during your attorney review, that is something that could potentially be refunded to you, but an appraisal fee and a home inspector fee is not something that can be refunded.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well, 6:31
All
Central
right.
Time. Look what we did.
Yes, yes. We are here every week on Wednesday because we want to make sure that we educate our clients. If you have any questions and looking for information about buying a home, it does not have to be in Illinois. We do service other states as well. So
Hmm.
give us a call. We can definitely help you and connect you with the right people when you're actually ready to buy. So, first of
Yep.
all, you always got to start with Lisa as a pre approval. That's where all transactions begin is with the lender. So make sure you're contacting Lisa to get your pre-approval. And then no matter what state you're in, give me a call because I can help you or connect you with one of my realtor partners. And if I don't service that state, I have partners that service other states as well that we can actually pair up with. So
Sounds good.
we are so excited that you come and join us and talk to us every week. We're here. Ask us any questions. Put them in the comment section. We will answer them. And
But
make
we'll be
sure
even more excited if you like and subscribe. That would
exactly.
have us just thrilled.
So
Yeah.
definitely like and subscribe for us
Right. Yeah.
too. Right.
Then I
All
began that dance like at the beginning.
right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.